Seattle, Washington is growing, and it's growing rapidly. There's a lot of job growth and opportunity here that's going to raise those prices. From housing, grocery, and transportation costs, we're going to be talking about what it costs to live here and some of the expenses that you'll be expected to pay and take into account when moving here. So let's get into it. What's up, everybody? My name is Nelson Snook, and I'm a local real estate agent right here in the Seattle area. If this is your first time to the channel and you want to know what it's like to work, eat, sleep, play, and what it costs to live here, then make sure you hit that subscribe button and the little bell so you're notified every time I do a new video. I'm helping a lot of people move here who are relocating here, and I absolutely love it. So if you're thinking about moving or relocating here, you've got to give me a call, shoot me a text, or even send me an email. However you want to get a hold of me, I got your back when moving to the Seattle area. Let's start with the #1 driving factor to the high prices you see in Seattle. That's going to be the job growth and opportunity that the city provides. You're going to see people moving from all over the country, moving to Seattle, and that's going to create a huge demand for houses and apartments for people to live in. So people are getting paid a lot more, and they're going out into the city, they're going to restaurants and bars and shops, and they're spending that money. And so what's the city going to do? It's going to increase its prices because the demand is getting so much larger. So Seattle's actually going to be seeing a future job growth prediction of 43%, whereas the national growth prediction is 33%. And Seattle's already growing so much, and it's going to continue throughout the years. So going forward in the topics I'm going to be bringing up and going forward about cost of living, to help you understand that on the national average, cost of living is a solid 100 across the board. So Seattle, and on the screen I'll throw it up right now, you'll see that something like housing is almost 3 times that, and then health is a lot cheaper, because a plus to these big companies is that you get really good benefits for health, and so that's kind of going to bring our cost down there. So let's get into housing and where that stands across the nation and compared to other big cities. So you'll see Seattle sits at 300, which is 3 times the national average for housing costs. And because of these bigger companies, it actually is a lot less because of the high-paying jobs, which makes affording the housing a little bit easier. You'll see our median price for home prices around here is only $715. But compared to like San Francisco, you'll see that their median home price is $1.4 million. And their housing index score is over double as Seattle. So a lot of people do live in the city, but as in the last year and a half, we've seen a lot of people moving out of the Seattle metro area, and they're going north to like Edmonds or Everett, up in the Snohomish area. You've got some really nice homes up there, great neighborhoods, or even across Lake Washington into Redmond, Sammamish, Issaquah. You'll see a lot of people moving over there. Same thing, of great neighborhoods, great houses, and you've also got some really nice areas down south in Renton and even far as Tacoma. So in these outside areas of the Seattle metro area, you're going to see a lot of job opportunities as well. And so I'll be here to find the right area for you and find the house that's going to fit your needs. Alright, so let's get into transportation. There's a lot of bad things about the traffic here in Seattle, but there's also a lot of good things too. The city's well aware of the traffic problems that it has, so they're working really hard on creating new ways to make travel around here better. Compared to a lot of other cities, Seattle is really good on its transportation. For example, we have the Seattle Metro bus system. You'll see you can get a ticket for about $2.25. We've also got Uber, just like every other city. As long as there's nothing going on, no big game days, no big events, it's pretty affordable. On days like Seahawk or Sounders game days, it's going to be pretty pricey, especially late at night. But as long as nothing's going on, just going out to drinks with some friends, it's pretty cheap. Something that's a little bit better is the Sounder commuter rail. You're going to see tickets starting around $2.55 plus a per mile charge. But just to give you an idea of a cost, going from south like Lakewood to Seattle, and if you're going from north from Everett to Seattle, you're going to see a charge of $4.50. Both ways are about an hour, just over an hour in travel time. You've got multiple stops along the way, but this thing reaches 79 miles an hour. You're not sitting in traffic, it's going really quick, and so it beats sitting in traffic. So this commuter rail covers some significant ground, going from Lakewood all the way up to Everett. But if you're looking for more of an in-the-city transportation, you're going to want to get on the Link Light Rail. This goes from the University of Washington down to like SeaTac Airport. And this only costs $225 with a max payment of $3.25. So that's pretty cheap. So with all these transportation options, to make payment and going on these things a lot easier, there's this Orca card that you can purchase for $5, and it's kind of like an e-wallet. So you upload money to it, and whenever you get on the bus or the light rail, all you have to do is scan it, and you're good to go. So Seattle has some pretty good transportation options for it, say if you don't have a car, and they are continuing to grow this and make it a lot easier to get around, especially going across Lake Washington, across I-90 to over to like Bellevue and Redmond. They're working on all these different expansion areas that are going to take you from Seattle all the way out north and west. So as I mentioned earlier, the national average of transportation, housing, and just an overall cost of living is $100. And Seattle sits for transportation at $137, a little bit higher than a national. But hopefully that's going to kind of drop a little bit once we get some more of these public transportation systems up and running, bigger expansion projects. It'll make traveling around the city a lot easier. Now say you do have a car though, what's auto insurance look like, and what are kind of those payments that you're going to need to expect to pay when moving here? So you'll see an average cost of auto insurance around $100. You know, depending on which insurance company you go through, that's definitely going to vary. I saw a charge as almost as high as $227. And this is also going to vary if you're going to get a minimum coverage or a full coverage type of insurance plan. As far as tab registration, you're going to see a $43 charge plus extra payments if you've got a heavier vehicle. There's also an electric vehicle fee of $150. So we've got a lot of electric vehicles here. You'll also see the light rail tax or the RTA tax fee, which is for registering vehicles. It's calculated by taking the sale price with depreciation. So say you have a 2012 Prius, you're going to be paying right around $150 per year for that tax. And all of this goes to funding construction for sound transit projects. As far as gas prices go, you'll see the whole west side of the country is a lot higher than the east and the south. So Washington ranks with regular and premium number 5 on that list. So you'll see a regular gas price from $3.80 to $4. And unfortunately, I'm paying for premium, and my last fill up was $51. And that was right around $4.50 to $4.60 even sometimes. So if you have your own car and you're driving around the city or commuting outside of the city to go to work, this is something you're definitely going to want to take into account, because Seattle may look really small, but because it's landlocked and waterlocked and it's got all these funky streets, it's very hilly, you're going to go through gas a lot quicker than you think you would. And also on the note of having your own car, you got to know that traffic is really rough. So you're going to be using a little bit more gas there sitting in traffic. Also, parking is really hard, especially if you're in a neighborhood sometimes where houses don't have garages or even driveways. You're going to see, even in the neighborhood, people parking on the streets. So that's definitely something else to take into account. Alright, let's talk about food. Seattle comes in at 108 on the cost of living scale for grocery and food, whereas the national average is 100. So we're a little bit higher, but pretty much just right there. So Seattle is one of the largest meccas for food. You've got the Sound right there. We get fresh seafood every day. We're right here in the Puget Sound. An average meal here in Seattle can cost you from $25 to $30 per person. Now, if you're going out with 2 people, you can spend way more than that. We've got a lot of different food options here, from like food trucks to rooftop luxury dining. So really depending on where you're going, you can spend a lot or spend not so much. So, going out with 2 people, you can spend sometimes from $100 to $200. And you can probably read and hear a lot from other people who come to Seattle and go out to restaurants and go to bars and drink and hear about the prices here. But you gotta remember, this is Seattle. This is one of the largest meccas for food. So with all the restaurants and bars, there is just such a huge competition, not only between the restaurants and bars and clubs, but with the chefs. The chefs are all competing to try and be the best. So you can go out and find those expensive restaurants, or you can go out and find those quick bites. Like I mentioned earlier, we got a lot of food trucks here, a lot of smaller owned businesses that aren't gonna be as expensive. But one of the coolest things about all the restaurants and bars here is if you go to one and you're not satisfied with the menu or just how it looks, you can walk down a couple blocks and go find another place. Seattle is very walkable. You've also got really good happy hours that'll bring that cost down. You're gonna have cheaper beer and wines, cheap cocktails, and food and appetizers like that. So really, depending on the restaurant and where you go, what you get, it's really gonna be a mix of prices. Sometimes I go out and I'll spend over $100 on a meal and drinks. Sometimes I'll split with a friend and it'll only be 50 to 60, sometimes less. So it really just depends. Another factor to the prices here in Seattle is gonna be that Seattle's really healthy. We have a lot of grocery stores here that are healthy, organic produce and other products like PCC, Whole Foods, Trader Joe's. There's Pike's Place downtown, organic produce. You'll see a lot of markets down there. And these are all on top of the regular grocery stores that you see like Fred Meyer's and Safeway, QFC. The price is gonna be a little higher, it's gonna be hiked up, because you got that organic whole food products that people love here. You also have Uwajimaya, that's an Asian market that's only in Seattle and Renton and Beaverton, Oregon. It's an Asian market. They've got a huge variety of stuff. I always go there and just pick something randomly because I love trying new things, and they have just an incredible amount of variety there. There's also discounted grocery stores like Grocery Outlet. And the cool thing about Seattle and what's going to help bring that cost down for you when living here is the utilities. The utility sits at 68.8 compared to the national average of 100. So it's going to be significantly lower. And the main reason for that is because one of the companies here, City Light, has one of the longest continually running energy efficiency programs in the country. And because we've got a lot of water. We've got a lot of hydroelectricity here. We've got a lot of dams, rivers, a lot of hydroelectricity plants that provide a lot of energy for the state and also neighboring states as well. So that's gonna bring in income for us, which is gonna lower the utility costs. So with utilities between internet, water, sewer, and garbage, you're gonna see these costs below the national average. You've also got health, which sits at 85 compared to the 100 of the national average. We've got a lot of hospitals here and a lot of great ones too. So this is where you're gonna save your money and you're gonna see those costs drop when living here in Seattle. So these are some of the main things I wanted to address when it comes to costs and living here in Seattle. I've got a couple extras I want to mention. First of all, there is no income tax, which is really cool. On the other end though, you're going to see that our sales tax is going to be a bit higher. Compared to like Oregon, they have no sales tax, but they do have an income tax. So if you got little kiddos and you're thinking about doing private school, that's probably going to run you about $2,000 a month, $26,000 a year. So that's something to take into account. And also if you're thinking about doing daycare, at an estimate, maybe try and factor in $1,000 a month for daycare until you figure that out and find the right daycare that you want to go through. So other than that, when you're living here, these prices and the costs are going to be pretty on point with these neighboring cities over here on the West Coast. So you're going to be going out and you're going to be finding your restaurants and you know your breweries where you can find the happy hour and your craft beers. Gas is pretty expensive right now, but there are some, little secret spots where you can get that cheaper gas as well. But what is going to get you is the home prices and the cost of that. So it's really not that expensive, but moving into a new house, that's what's really going to be your most costly thing when living here. So I can help you find that house for you. There's a lot of high-paying jobs here. So whatever your lifestyle is, I can help you find that house that fits your needs and your wants. So that's pretty much a wrap on this video on the cost to living in Seattle, Washington. Now, if you are even thinking about moving or relocating to Seattle and you've got questions for me, please give me a call, shoot me a text, or even send me an email. However you want to get a hold of me, I've got your back when moving to the Seattle area. And if this is your first time to the channel and you want to know what it's like to work, eat, live, sleep, and play, and everything there is to know about Seattle, then make sure you subscribe and click the little bell so you're notified every time I put out a new video. Don't forget to hit that like button. Until next time, I'll see you later. Bye-bye.